Let's talk spooky middle grade books. Tell me in the comments below, what is your favorite spooky book or story? Do you like scary stories? I have found that for me, middle grade is the perfect amount of spooky because a lot of times it gets me on the edge of my seat. There's mystery to it, but not where it haunts me that I cannot sleep for days. All right, because I just can't handle that. But I do like a little bit of scary. All right, so middle grade is perfect for me. The first one I want to talk about is Stage Fright by Wendy Paris. Just came out. Oh, it was perfect for me. So the skull is in it and oh, it's creepy, and just have to start with that because it just changed the way that I think. Every time I see a skull now, I'm like, ugh. So these kids, they go into a haunted abandoned theater and they're going to do a seance, and it turns into something way more than they bargained for, with more supernatural elements than they had ever dreamed of experiencing, and they have got to get out to save themselves, and they've got to work together, and their friendships have changed over the last year or so because one of them had moved away and she's back visiting, and she's noticing that, as kids grow up and they experience life, they're changing, and she's seen her friends change, and so they're having to work together through this change and really figure out the mystery of these ghosts and get out of there safe. Great book. I just loved it. So then the next one I want to talk about is The Pumpkin Princess and the Forever Night. And so it is just all the spooky feels. It's a perfect autumn read, and it was so much fun. There's this girl who she's running away from an orphanage, and she encounters the Pumpkin King, and she's not even scared of him. So he's like, all right, I think I'll take you with me. And so they go back to this just total Halloween town with all of these typical Halloween creatures like werewolves and vampires and ghosts and skeletons and witches, and of course the Pumpkin King and his scarecrows. And so it's just her trying to learn to fit in there, and does she belong there, and different beings don't think she belongs there or should be there at all, so she's got to work to establish that and prove herself, and she makes some friends, and they're working together to figure out this mystery of who is working against her and the Pumpkin King, and can they save the day. And they're trying to sneak around and figure it all out, and of course they're not always right about who they're accusing, and it's just a really great read, and about friendship and family and belonging. So then I just loved M.R. Farnese, and definitely go and check out the interview that I did with her because I was thrilled to have her on the podcast. And so Brick, Dust, and Bones, oh, it was so perfect. I loved curling up with this book and reading about it, and just immediately from chapter 1 are these scary, well, it's the boogeyman, all right? And so just things that kids grew up with being scared of, right? And so you get to experience these different scary creatures that Monster Hunter Marius Gray, as he's trying to figure out a way to get his mom back, and he's trying to collect enough monsters in his book, and just loved it. So now this year the sequel came out, Darkness and Demon Song. I'm in the middle of it right now, and it is just fantastic. A really great sequel that you could actually, I feel like as I've been reading it, I'm like, I don't think that you absolutely have to have read this one. You could read it and enjoy it either way, but it definitely helps to have that backstory. And so just really great series. Highly recommend it. Can't say enough about it. And then also new this year is The Haunted States of America. And this is perfect. Like, think Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, where it's just, short little reads. I loved sitting around at recess when I was in 6th grade, and we would take turns reading these stories, and we always wanted to be the first to check it out from the library. So this is what I'm picturing with Haunted States of America. Each of the 50 states plus Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C. are represented. So all these fun little scary stories. Some of them are just like, oh, that wasn't that scary. And some of them is like, oh, that was a good scary story right there. And it's just perfect for these short little really consumable ones. And it's fun because you can look up the state you live in, or one that you're interested in, or one that you have lived in. Great little scary story short book. And I want to share with you next some of my just favorite spooky middle grade books. So the first one is Lockwood and Co, and it's a series, and there's also a TV show that they started based on it. I really hope they get to a season 2 because it's just phenomenal. So the books are about these teenage kids who they're the ones who can see the ghosts. And so they're the ones trying to fight what they call as the problem that's going on, because if you touch a ghost, then you go into like this comatose state of being. And so they've got to avoid the ghost. There's curfew instituted for all adults, and they have to be inside, and only people that can be out are these ghost hunters, and they're trying to find and take care of these problems of these spirits and get them contained. And then throughout the series it delves more into the problem, and you get more into the supernatural and fighting it and figuring it all out. I just loved it. I loved reading the whole series. And then if you want another one, some good standalones, you can't go wrong with a Lindsay Curry book. One that I really enjoyed is It Found Us. I mean, look at this just creepy cover, you know. She writes a lot that she weaves in some little bits of history, like in Scritch Scratch, and just certainly these spooky elements of these ghosts and kids and family working together to try to figure out what's going on. Why is this ghost haunting them, and how can they get away from it? Just perfect amount of spooky vibes. Last one I want to talk about is City of Ghost. Loved it. Takes place in Scotland. This family goes, and they, the parents are like ghost hunters. So they're trying to interact and really have these experiences. And there's this documentary that they're filming. So the girl's kind of along for the ride, but she has not told them that she has like a friend ghost that always hangs out with her. And she's able to experience things with him and talk to him, and she doesn't really know why. She knows that it happened about the time that she had a near-death experience, but she meets another person that also does this. And so this other person is kind of arrogant about it, but kind of shows her what she does with these spirits, and they're working together, and you're figuring out this story about this spiritual world, and should she get farther into it because she's accidentally pulled into it at different times. Just all these perfect spooky feels with this ghost and this supernatural world. I think you're just going to love it. One that adults can really enjoy as well. All these ones that I've talked about, I really enjoyed reading it as well. And so which one, tell me in the comments below, do you most look forward to reading? If you enjoyed this video, please take a second. It really helps me out if you take a second. Just click the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, come back and keep getting more great book recommendations for the kids in your life. Bye.